Hi students, today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter 5, laws of motion. Now in the previous two chapters we are studying about motion in a straight line and motion in a plane. We are studying what happens when an object travels along a straight line, how to derive the equations of motion and also how to resolve the components of velocity etc. when the object is traveling along a plane. Now in this chapter we will study what are the laws which governs an object when it moves and also about frictional force, how friction helps us in the case of motion. So let's start. Now the concept of force all began in 300 BC when the Greek philosopher Aristotle said the steady state of an object is a state of rest, or the natural state of an object is a state of rest. And if an object is moving, then definitely after some times it will slow down and come to rest. And a force is required to move the object. Now if you ask what is force, then what will you say? It is a push or a pull, or it is an agency which creates a change in state of the object. It can be a change in motion along a straight line, change in direction, or a change in speed. But later, nearly 2000 years after, Galileo said the concept of motion said by Aristotle is somewhat wrong, because Aristotle didn't say anything about friction. Galileo, using his experiments of inclined plane, I hope you have studied the experiment of inclined plane in the lower class. There are two inclined planes kept like this, and a ball was made to roll down by applying an amount of force. What happened? The ball came down, and after some time it went to the other side and traveled the same distance to reach the same height from which it was thrown down. Again what he did is, he slowly decreased the slope. You know what is slope, isn't it? He slowly decreased the slope of the inclined plane, and he again made the ball to roll down. And he saw that as the ball is coming down, it reaches to the maximum bottom level, then it goes up, it travels a greater distance or a larger distance in order to attain the same height as its initial position. Then again he started to slow down the slope like this. At the end, the second inclined plane was made lie on the horizontal level like this. And he found that when the ball comes down, it keeps on rolling if there is no friction, the same speed. But only if there is friction, after coming down, the ball rolls for some time, then it comes to rest. So the concept of friction was introduced by Galileo, and he introduced the term inertia. You know what is inertia, isn't it? Inertia is the resistance of a body to change its state. So the concept of inertia was introduced by Galileo, and he said a force is required to overcome the inertial state of the body. Now later, after many years, Sir Isaac Newton, he studied the Galileo experiments in detail, and he formulated the three famous laws of motion which you have studied. Now first one is Newton's first law of motion, and the law states that every body continues in a state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless it is compelled to change by some external force. So every body continues in a state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line. So these 3 points are important: state of rest, state of motion, and along a straight line, which means Newton was saying about inertia. A body remaining in a state of rest will try to continue in the same state, and it is known by the name what? It is known by the name inertia of rest. Then uniform motion, or it continues to be in a uniform motion, which is inertia of motion. He was saying about inertia of motion. In a straight line, which means inertia of direction. So the first law, or in the first law, Newton was saying about inertia. And in order to change the inertia, what we have to do? We have to apply some external force, which means first law is also known by the name law of inertia, because Newton was saying about inertia. Every body in the universe continues to be in a state of rest or of uniform motion or moves along a straight path unless an external force is applied on it. The second law, so Newton's second law of motion. And what does the law states? It states that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force, external force applied. Rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Now, how we are going to express this equation in terms of mathematical form? The rate of change. How will you represent rate of change using differentiation? It is written as d by dt. The rate of change of what? The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Now, you know, if m is the mass of the body, or the object, and v the velocity with which the object is traveling, then momentum can be written as P is equal to m into v. So the above equation can be written as d by dt of m into v is proportional to the force applied. Now, you know, mass is a constant, it will never change. What is changing with respect to time? The force is applied, the velocity is changing. So we can write this equation as m into dv by dt proportional to f, or what is dv by dt? It means rate of change of velocity, and rate of change of velocity is what? Acceleration. So we can write the above equation as m into a proportional to f, and what we do in maths to change the proportionality sign? We introduce a constant, so we get m a is equal to kf, and experimentally it is found that the k value of k is equal to 1. So we can write the equation as ma is equal to f, which means force is equal to mass into acceleration, since k is equal to 1. Thus, the second law defined what is force, or what is the equation. Obtain the equation to attain the force of an object moving with a definite amount of, moving with an acceleration having definite mass. Now, you all know what is the unit of force. The unit of force is Newton, represented by capital N. And also you have studied when a body falls down, it is under the influence of gravity. So the unit of force in terms of gravitational motion when the object is moving under the influence of gravity is kilogram weight. Unit of force in terms of gravitation, or when the body is moving under the influence of gravity, the unit of force is written as kilogram weight, and 1 kilogram weight is equal to 9.8 Newton. You have to study this value by heart for solving problems. 1 kilogram weight is how much? It is 9.8 Newton. Okay. Now let's move to the third law, which is the easiest and simplest of all, which we say for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. If there is an action, there is also a reaction. But one thing which you have to keep in your mind when you are studying this law is that action and reaction should take place in two different bodies or two different objects. Otherwise, they will get cancelled. Why? You can't get the effect of force. Why? Because imagine there is an object placed on a floor, a block, a wooden block, and the two persons are applying same amount of force, say 40 Newton from one side, another person is trying to apply a force of 40 Newton on the other side. Will there be any effect of force here? No. Why? Because the force will get cancelled. So, action and reaction should take place in two different objects. Now, let us see some examples of this action and reaction, which is very important when you are studying this chapter further. First, we will take a simple example, that is a book kept on a table. You are going to see what is the action and what is the reaction. I have kept my book on the table. So, what is the action and what is the reaction? So, this is my table, okay, and I have kept a book here. Book is having a mass, small letter m. You know, if m is the mass of the body, then weight is given by W, G, which is equal to force, and this weight from the center of the body will be acting downwards, which is equal to mg. So, book is providing a force onto the table, and that is our action, and as a result there will be a reaction force provided by the table to the book, which will be acting perpendicularly upwards, which is known as the reaction or the normal reaction. Clear? So, the action here is weight of the book acting downwards, and the reaction is provided by whom? It is provided by the table to the book, and it is acting perpendicularly or normally upwards. It is also known by the name reaction or normal reaction. It is known by the name reaction, or it is also called normal reaction. And who is providing the normal reaction? The normal reaction is provided by the table to the two objects. Book is one object, table is the second object. Now, let us see a next example, that is walking. The floor. Now, you know how you are walking, isn't it? Imagine this is my book, is the floor, and you are walking. Do you walk like this? You keep the entire foot like this and you walk? No. What do you do? Keep your legs in a slanted positions and then you move, isn't it? It's not like jumping and going. You won't keep the entire foot on the land. You will be slanting and walking like this. Just try, okay? So, what happens when I am walking? I am applying a force to the ground. And what will the ground do? The ground will provide a reaction force to my foot. Clear? Now, this is the reaction force. Now, I am applying the force to the ground using my foot at an angle. Same reaction force will be provided by the ground to the foot at an angle. We will say theta. So, R is a reaction provided by the ground. So, according to vectors, we have to resolve a component into two. One is the horizontal component and one is the vertical component. We have studied if R is the resultant, theta is the angle, then what will be the adjacent component? It will be R cos theta. And what will be the vertical component? It will be R sin theta. So, I am resolving my component of the reaction force into two, R cos theta, that is the adjacent or the horizontal component, and the vertical component R sin theta. Now, what is the use of these two components? We will see. Now, you know, if I am standing on here, I am applying some force on the ground and on the floor, and the floor is providing a reaction force and my weight is balanced. I am standing still, I am not going down, isn't it? Same way, when you are walking, two things you have to consider. First one, your weight must be balanced by something, by a reaction force. Second one, as you are walking, you know there is friction and you are overcoming this friction and you are moving forward. So, the reaction force should provide its component which overcomes the friction and help us to move forward. Now, when you are walking, the frictional force is acting in the opposite direction. You have all studied. Friction is a force which opposes motion and it is a direction opposite to the direction of motion. Now, which is the component of force which is acting opposite to this friction? It is the r cos theta component or the horizontal component. I hope you are clear. Now, when you are walking, you have to move forward. When you are applying force, the ground is applying a reaction force back to you, and with the help of that, you are moving forward, isn't it? Now, when you are moving forward, two things are there. First thing is your weight must be balanced. Second thing, otherwise you will fall down. Second thing, you have to overcome the frictional force. Now, frictional force is acting in opposite direction of your motion. So, the component of reaction force which helps you to move forward is the one which is opposite to it, a horizontal thing, that is r cos theta. So, r cos theta enables to move forward. I hope you are clear with this idea. Then next thing is your weight of the body is acting downwards, mg, and the component of reaction force which enables to balance your weight is r sin theta, which helps you to still and balance your weight. So, r cos theta is there, r sin theta is there. R cos theta is the horizontal component. When you are moving forward, this horizontal component allows you to move forward, and r sin theta component, which is a vertical component, is acting in a direction opposite to your weight, acting downwards, which balances your weight. I hope you are clear with this idea. So, thank you.